Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Clayton, and I just got to see The Birth of a Nation, directed by Nate Parker. I understand the controversies surrounding this film, but I'm just going to avoid them for the sake of a fair and objective movie review. So this movie follows the story of Nat Turner, a actual preacher slash slave, who is taken to several plantations in order to quell some slaves who are thinking of rebelling. As Nat goes from plantation to plantation under the order of his slave owner Samuel Turner, played by Armie Hammer, he sees all the atrocities that these white plantation owners are going to do to these slaves, and this eventually inspires Nat to lead a rebellion and to use the word of God to his advantage by rallying the slaves into a rebellion to kill their white slave owners and pursue their freedom. Now, one thing that I really liked about this movie is that the acting throughout is absolutely amazing. That's especially the case with Nate Parker as Nat. You see Nat Turner from when he's a kid to when he's an adult to the time of his death, and every actor who portrays Nat is absolutely great for the role, but Nate Parker himself is of course the best. He's so emotionally charged and full of so much courage that he sort of reminds me of William Wallace from Braveheart. And since this movie has many oddly specific parallels with Braveheart, it makes my comparison seem a bit more reasonable. Not only that, but Armie Hammer also plays a pretty cool, conflicted character with Samuel Turner. Initially, you think he's one of the few white characters who's actually a decent guy, only for him to reveal his true colors later on, and Armie Hammer pulls off his personality incredibly well. Also, possibly one of my favorite actors in the film was one of the most detestable, Jackie Earle Haley, who plays Raymond Cobb. Jackie Earle Haley knows how to play characters who are totally just despicable and ones that you want to see dead by the end of the movie. And let me just tell you, Jackie Earle Haley is completely detestable. He's totally out of his normal element, but it totally works for the sake of this movie. But what really works here is that the film knows when to show horrible atrocities of slavery and when to just focus on Nat's life. And the movie has about as many heartwarming moments as heartbreaking moments. One moment you might see Nat Turner getting whipped, another moment you might see him connecting with his mother or his wife Cherry. And the movie knows when to show a character's face to just show their reaction to a moment, and when to show an actual moment happening, like a slave being shot in the head, or even a implied rape scene. Yes, as their R rating might imply, this is a very mature, very brutal movie to watch, and it's not always very easy to watch it. There's, like I said, an implied rape scene, tons of bloody violence, about over 50 uses of the N-word, yes, I counted, and constant religious imagery. So if any of this stuff gets to you, I recommend not seeing it, but if you're okay with this stuff, you should definitely check this movie out. Not only that, but the cinematography throughout really makes every location in the movie look absolutely stunning. From the plantations, to the forests, to even the pathways that lead from plantation to plantation, every single shot works really well for the movie. Now, there is a little bit of shaky cam that I didn't like throughout, and there are one or two shots that felt like they could have been a bit longer or a bit shorter, but I pretty much lend that to the fact that this is Nate Parker's first film that he directed, so mistakes like that are going to come around. Now, of course, this is not a perfect movie, as there are two major flaws that I do have with it. The first flaw is that there's a lot of build-up for the eventual revolt, but very little payoff. And the fight between the black slaves and the white plantation owners that you see in the trailer only goes on for about 2 minutes at the end. I would have liked to see a more drag-out, bare-knuckle fight between Nate Parker's Nat Turner and Jackie Earle Haley's Raymond Cobb. I would have liked to see more of that, but I understand that this film wasn't meant to be an action film, it's more meant as a character study for Nat. But, like I said, I would have liked to have more of a payoff and maybe a tiny little bit less build-up. And also, there are a couple of dream sequences throughout that don't really add much to the story, and honestly, I can tell they're supposed to be symbolic, but I couldn't really get what the symbolism was supposed to be. I understand why dream sequences are sometimes put in films, but to me, in this film they came across as pretty unnecessary and kind of superfluous. They could have been cut out of the movie and nothing would have been lost. But, overall, this film is very well directed, it's very well shot, Nate Parker gives an excellent performance, and honestly, no matter what the controversies are in this movie, I will remember it as a film that is very hard to watch in repeat viewings, just because of how brutal it is, but also one that is very, very impressively made. I give Birth of a Nation a 9 out of 10. See you later.